Did you ever wonder why the same two letters, E, A, sound like E in peace and EA in create? In this lecture, we'll look at the sound chunks that make up words and how the emphasis or de-emphasis on different sound chunks overrides spellings and really informs how the word should be pronounced. We'll first look at how we break apart words into syllables or word chunks. Then we'll identify the stressed or strong syllables and the unstressed and weak syllables. By the end, you'll have a clearer understanding of how spellings, the written word, can mislead your pronunciation, and that the patterning of strong and weak word parts affects vowel sounds and is the best way to determine the pronunciation of words. Syllables are the beats or word chunks that combine to make one sound. A single syllable can have a variety of sounds, but only one vowel sound. It's important to understand that the syllable is not any sound. A syllable is a vowel sound, and it includes the consonants that surround it. Some single vowel sounds are produced by a combination of two vowel letters, as in peace. However, the same EA combination is pronounced as two distinct vowel sounds, and therefore two distinct syllables in the word create. To determine the number of syllables, an experiential method is helpful. When pronouncing a particular word, pay attention to the number of jaw shifts within the word. You need to know how to break apart words to determine which part gets the strongest sound. We'll come to that in a moment. Take a look at the examples of words in the same word family. With each additional component and each additional syllable, there is an additional jaw movement. Help, helpful, helpfully. Stand, withstand, withstanding. New, renewed, renewing. In English, stress is one of the main tools used to convey meaning. Having an understanding of the stress system is essential to speaking intelligibly. Key to the concept is that word stress follows distinct patterns. You may be accustomed to the concept of stress from your home language, but those stress patterns most likely differ from those in English. As a generality, the stressed syllable in a word is pronounced higher, louder, longer than the other syllables in the word. It's pronounced with a full vowel sound. We'll get to that in a few minutes. Let's take a look at these words. Hospital, prescription, personnel. The stress in a word may be on the first, second, third syllable, and so on. The stress falls on the first syllable in hospital, the second syllable in prescription, and the third syllable in personnel. The patterns are not always predictable, so I'm often asked, how can I know what is the correct stress in a word? I wish there was an easy answer. There's always the option of looking up a word in the dictionary, but a more practical approach is to rely on your ears. Say the word with all the possible stress combinations. Which one sounds correct? For example, prescription, prescription, prescription. Clearly, it's the second, prescription. Once you confirm the correct pronunciation, keep a running list of your challenge words, both spelled out accurately and sounded out, for future reference. The additional syllables in a word which are unstressed are shortened or reduced, often with a neutral vowel sound. In many cases, regardless of the vowels that make up the spelling of the word, the unstressed syllables pronounced as or I. Quick, short sounds that require very little mouth movement. The difference between stressed and unstressed syllables are more pronounced in English than in many other languages. Becoming familiar with word stress and its function within words is essential. The way consonants and vowels are pronounced in English is influenced by this central aspect of speech. Let's take a look at the words we just worked with, but this time let's look for the unstressed sounds. Hospital, pedal, hospital. Prescription, shun, prescription. Personnel, sun, personnel. Let's go back to the words we were looking at when we were determining syllables. Which are the stressed syllables? You'll notice in all the words that help, stand, and new are stressed. One-syllable words, the whole word is stressed. Let's add a syllable. Helpful, withstand, renewed. Let's add a third syllable. Helpfully, withstanding, renewing. How about unstressed, neutral sounding syllables? You'll notice that not every unstressed syllable is reduced, and some words have two possible pronunciations. For example, reduced, reduced. In either case, the stress does not change. So let's review the central concepts with a few more words. Let's first identify syllables. How many jaw movements in these words? I'm showing you the movements. The jaw movements indicate how many syllables. Pause the video here, put your hands on your jaw, and identify the number of syllables. So we have function, prepare, clinical, diseases. I'm speaking like a computer, so I don't give away the stress pattern. That's what we're going to do now. Let's identify which syllable in each word sounds higher, louder, or longer. Pause the video here and say the words naturally. If you're uncertain, try stressing different syllables and trust your ear to identify the correct stress. Okay? Function, prepare, clinical, diseases. Now let's identify the unstressed syllables, the syllables and vowel sounds that are simplified, shortened, or reduced to I. Shun, function, prepare, ical, clinical, is, diseases. Just a note, not all unstressed syllables are or I, but in many cases they are, regardless of how the word is spelled. Finally, let's look at the words sounded out. Remember, English is non-phonetic, meaning spellings don't directly match sounds. Function, prepare, clinical, diseases. So again, syllables are the beats or word chunks. Stressed syllables, the part of the word with the strongest sound, and unstressed syllables, the weaker sounding parts of the word, are your best indication of how to pronounce words in English. In Section 2, we'll dive right into the key challenging sounds, the vowels and consonants that, when mispronounced, can make the meaning unclear to the listener. We will also look at common language-specific errors and tips in how to avoid them. Now go to the resources section to take the quiz, which tests your knowledge of syllables before moving on to Section 2.